he will come out on the radio and talk. But what he said, he has been speaking to them about those things. And it looks as though I listened to him. He's not being taken on.
Okay.
So it's not to say he's not talking, but what happened? He's not coming on the radio and say blah blah. They listen, you know. He said he's doing it internally. You understand, Sibo? That is what he said. And he said it's not the first time they're doing that.
Yeah, but what do you think as somebody out there in the public that's something like that? I mean, you tell us you're a regular listener to Sports Rap, so you can comment on it.
Yes, I listened to Bob. I listened to him properly. He said it's not the first time they're doing that. And the way Bob spoke, Bob said they know for a fact they have been doing that for 7 weeks now.
Well, so since December they've had mass camp here.
Yes, it's 7 weeks now, Bob said. So the way Bob spoke, it's not the first time they're doing mass camp now. So it's not to say he said they're not doing anything. He said it's not everything. He'll run to the media and say, you know, but he has been talking to them about those things, and it looks as though it's falling on deaf ears. I listened to Bob with Matt today.
Yes, well, I'm not disputing that. Thank you, darling. But again, Daryl Bob must call the program and explain that, because if they were at fault for them not being on the carnival calendar, well, one part, Aaron, and I'm sure parties are wrong, they must call and tell us what is the problem, because that doesn't make sense, Ronald. And if well, everybody seems to be afraid to speak now.
Sebastian.
I hear some of their men live in Dominica now to take jobs overseas. Some of their own people now living. But that doesn't make any sense anyhow. I mean, they must call and explain it to us. Because
I was just something, Sibo.
Yeah, Bobby.
This is a poor excuse, Sebastian, a very poor excuse. Because first of all, the organizing committee are aware of the people, the stakeholders in Carnival.
Right.
That's a very poor, and they have a staff to organize Carnival. Carnival is coming up. You are planning. You know the stakeholders. You know the band organizers, the Calypso people, what they have intents and so on. You just call. You have to call.
No, they must call that. We have no caller. Maybe one of them.
You remember you live in Dominica,
Exactly.
And the poor management is permeating all areas of operation in Dominica.
Thank you very much.
Let's take the caller. Good night.
Hi, good night, Mr. Sebastian and your team. Happy New Year.
Hi, same to you, man. How are you, man?
Really good, man. It looks as though you're going to become a West Indies selector again. I was listening to Sports Match today with Lance Whitaker. And when they asked what about the new selectors, if they're going to make some changes, he said, guys like Locust Sebastian should be back on the first. So, I mean, these guys have you high on the agenda. Don't be surprised. You never know.
So everything okay,
I'm wishing you the best, you and your team.
You too, man. Thank you very much.
We'll deal with that when we come to cricket.
We have another caller. That's the right one. Good night. Hello. Yes.
Yes. Good night.
Good night. Oh, good night, caller.
Yes, Sibo.
Yes, sir. Who's that? Is that Paben from Florida?
Yes, let me explain.
Paben, you're from Maho.
Well, he's going to explain. Go ahead, Paben, explain to listeners.
Before anybody have the wrong conception as to what happened.
All right, tell us.
Before I was in St. Croix.
Right.
And a gentleman came up to me and said to me that he loved what I be doing. I be doing, like trying to support the Calypso thing. So he wants to donate $500 to the winner of Stardom 10. I immediately asked him if we can separate like 50-50, 250 for Mascam, 250 for Stardom. He said, no, I want all my money to go towards Stardom 10.
No, did you ask him why? Did you ask him what is the reason? What is the reason?
Because yes, I asked him. He said he's a big fan of Stardom 10. He's a big fan.
But nothing is wrong with that.
So what I did is that when I came up here, as I said on the program this morning, I made a few calls, and there are people that confirmed to me that they're going to give me money to give to Mascam. So Mascam is going to get their fair share, and must not even get more than Stardom 10.
Okay.
So I don't want it to look like I'm saying that people, the authorities want to destroy mass camp, which I really do believe that they want to. And here I am getting money for Saddam Hussein. No, that's not the case at all.
Okay.
That's not the case at all. And if Boston, Dice, Pat Iran, and even Bob can call you and talk to you and tell you that since the last year, I spoke to them about my intention, even Dangerben from Christopher Dangerben from Mascam.
You mean from startup? You mean startup?
From startup, yes.
Right, okay.
Because last year I was able to secure 2 televisions from people. One for the winner of Mascam, one for the winner of Saddam 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them if they want me to do the same thing. They said they would rather the money because things are bad. Then the guys get the money. So I said, okay, we will get the money over to you.
Okay.
So this is what's really going on. All right?
Okay,
I just want to make it clear that people understand. Okay?
No problem. Okay.
All right, thank you.
So we just go from Pavel.
Well, yes.
Yeah,
But a few things we need to do, Sibo. What I'd like us to do is to recognize our fans on a rotational basis. We have one set of fans that recognize all the time. Last Thursday when I was coming to the program, Kuru was sitting outside of Juice Man.
Oh!
And Kuru said to me, we'll be listening. Please hail us. And Juice Man said, hey! And the following day, I heard Juice Man has gone to the great beyond.
Well, we must talk about the Juice Man. Juice Man has been an avid supporter of sports rappers, for years. In fact, Thompson, the lobby runner, every time he meets me, he says, Sibo, you need to write a book. You have too much information in your head. Come on, every Thursday, in fact, every time I drive it to come here, he would say, Sibo, tonight. And he always listened. And, I was stunned. Because I saw Wadix. By the way, Wadix is uncle. Yes. But you grew up in Porterville, so you know that. So when I saw Wadix call me, I wondered why he's calling me. And then he said to me, boy, Frederick, that's his name. I said, with Frederick, I said, but that's a joke. Tell me, no, Sibo, I was stunned, honestly, because he doesn't miss or he's an avid supporter. Lobby would know that. That's Lobby's boy. Lobby, I'm sure you want to say something about that.
Oh, yes, Sebastian. First of all, Sibo, that my friend suffered 2 disasters in his life. Mm-hmm. First was Nightbox, Hurricane David. Mm-hmm. And then that fire in Pottersville there that got his bill. That itself, to me, he never recovered after that human disaster, I call that. Mm-hmm. Never recovered. It is sad that he has gone beyond, but we all have to go, It's just sad. Very, very sad. That used to be like a when I got to know Sebastian, it used to be like a time bomb.
Yes, he was
when he was there,
bit by bit, in a sequential way, and so on. And it was the last thing, he had lights and all flashing in there.
And a lot of these guys like Joshua Francis, Julian Johnson, Bob Dyer, all these guys frequented there. That's where.
So, Sibo, I'm saying that we have to develop a scheme of on a rotational basis. Highlight more friends. Not to say when we highlight them, they're on the way out, But we need to highlight, we need to say hello. We need to say hello to a lot of our friends, our fans. We need to do that.
And nobody, something I know that would interest you. Off air, I was saying to Ronald and Thompson, there is an advertisement out, the opening of Carnival. After the opening, they have the bands Triple K and what's the other one? And what's the other one? Signal band playing in the focker. And they had advertising. Children under 12 will pay $5. And adults, everybody is $15. What are children under 12 doing a jam with Triple K and Signal band? Seriously. And they're advertising that, Lobby, I know somebody like you want to comment on that.
No, Sebastian, as I said, the whole carnival has been watered down. The whole thing has been watered down. It's an old mess now, I tell you. There's no standard, there's no quality, there's no respect. Everything has dropped.
Yeah, but what kids under 12 doing in a public place with bands playing in the night? I mean,
systems are crumbling all over, and part of the indicators that systems are crumbling.
Yeah.
Even if the two bands that you have there,
Mhm.
one should be a calypso band, it's carnival.
Exactly.
So one of them plays bouillon, the other one focuses on calypso.
Mhm.
You know, but we don't
Yeah,
worry about that.
and then you know the kind of music they play.
Yeah.
You know the kind of music. So that's what I'm saying. Kids under 12 have no business in a place like that. I mean, I just find it's crazy.
See, I hope that they don't have any planned carnival activity for the botanical gardens. Because these guys are destroying the botanical
Yeah, I
gardens.
know. The state of
The only green space that we have.
Mhm.
We've got cruise tourism where people are walking around. People could pay a fee to go into gardens. We could bring the gardens up to a standard. But I'm looking at the area in the gardens that is just being destroyed.
Which one? The one where they play football in the morning?
No, opposite the convent.
Or when they had
Where
their
party
Christmas
is.
thing.
Yeah.
But
The lawns that has been destroyed.
what you know, Ronald Thompson Lobby, every carnival they have something there. They have some, what they calling it, all sorts of things.
When I was raising the
Rice and
gardens,
wine. When they had you
I used to
grow
go
up
to
right
the
there.
station.
Mhm.
All the fruits at the back, the lawns were properly kept. It was a very beautiful place to be. But now when you walk through there, you know, it's depressing to walk through the gardens.
Very
And this is supposed to be a unique selling proposition for cruise tourism.
Mhm.
Who's in charge?
That's a very good point. Because, you know, we have another caller. Let's say caller. Good evening. Hello.
Happy New Year, gentlemen.
Good night, Blue Blue. How are
Happy
you?
New Year.
I'm doing fine. Auntie Rome, Happy New Year, my darling, and to all those people that listen to me, Happy New Year. See, boy, you know what it is already. Ron, you know who is in charge. You still asking that question, Ron?
Well, tell him he probably doesn't know.
But you know, it's a one-man government, and my wife making it too. You know, the bedroom bodies that also call them
Bedroom governance, you said.
bedroom governance are taking place there. So you know what's going on.
Mhm.
We haven't got a botanical gardens that used to come our botanical gardens, John.
You used to live in the botanical gardens, Luvinia.
That is where that is where we used to live. That's our home. Everything we couldn't stay hungry. No, we haven't got that. That was other greenhouses. They don't know what they have in the greenhouses. Nothing. Instead of enhancing the place, putting back our big koi and our big fish pond in the botanical gardens and planting more trees, making it more green, our only green space, make it more green with more flowers and plant more trees.
Christmas trees.
Yes.
Everybody's come from
All the
all over
Christmas trees
Dominica.
A lot of the
alongside
Christmas trees
the
cut down.
Bath Road.
When
That's
people want the
deteriorated.
Christmas tree before, it's in gardens. You can't get that again.
In fact, I remember in David Road, and you know, while you were in the hostel, guys, when they had only grape and orange, guys,
Yeah.
go picking all the tea. I remember.
You know, one grapefruit like we doesn't see again in Dominica. Big thing that's called shadok.
Shadok.
People used to cut it and make it like a nice little delicacy thing to eat.
True.
They have the big thick pink skin and boil it in sugar and
True.
people used to sell that. That was it. We haven't got those things again. And right now, them people's going to spend money to date already back at the botanical gardens. Mr. Thompson Fountain and the rest of us in Dominica should not stand up and let that go on. Anyway, gentlemen, I'm listening. Have a good night.
Thank you. Well, Thompson,
Yes,
she
thank
mentioned
you.
your name.
Yeah.
She mentioned you by name.
No, I agree. I agree. It's very unfortunate what's going on, and you know, and also, you know, you mentioned this advertisement for young people
Under 12. Yeah.
under 12. How can you target advertising at under 12 for a jam happening at 6
After
p.m.?
And
This
say-
is
and you say how much you must
unthinkable.
pay. Yeah.
It's unthinkable, and the organizer should immediately pull that advertisement.
In
And
fact, I
then
was
you really should
stunned
not be
when I heard- I couldn't
advertising.
believe that. I'm hearing that.
You cannot be encouraging kids to be at 12 years and under. They
Yeah.
don't say 12 and up, you know,
Yeah,
12
12
and under.
True. Yeah.
To be out gallivanting, that's what it would be, gallivanting in the, you know, at the jam at
Yes.
6 and in the darkness.
And the thing about parents could be looking for their kids in the
This is-
night.
I don't get it.
In fact, that's unheard of.
This is-
That kids would be in a triple K jam
Mm.
or signal band where you expect adults to be there.
Yeah.
And you know, it's carnival time. What sort of dancing you'll be
Mhm.
seeing in there?
Yeah, and it's a lot of dirty business as well
Yeah,
in terms of the
exactly.
singing. And it is are they that desperate? Is it a question of us wanting to raise money that you're prepared to go after young people?
But I don't understand what is that. Why would you would have something like that? children go into a jam after. I just don't understand it. Honestly. We have another caller. Let's say good night.
Good night, Tibo.
Yeah, good night.
Tibo, good night.
Hi, good night.
Good night to you and all your listeners. Good night to Thompson.
Good night, Pat.
to
Good night,
Ron.
Pat.
Good night. Good
What's
night.
up, guys?
Lobby is here as well.
Blessed New Year, my
Lobby,
brother.
lobby.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
good
wanted to
night.
digest a little bit, take it back a little bit to the discussion.
Oh,
with
that's
Fabian.
Pat?
Pat,
Yeah,
Pat.
Okay, Pat. Yeah, man. Talk to us. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to go back a little bit to the discussion with Fabian.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say in his defense, he has always been a very keen supporter of the tent. You know,
Okay.
every year he always does something for us.
Mm-hmm.
And he does for Saddam too. So, because recently, a couple of months away, he got us another television which we are using at our venue.
Okay.
So, you know, he's really playing his part, you know,
Mm-hmm.
more and going beyond what regular people do.
Mm-hmm.
But did you all discuss the situation of Mascam being left out of the...
Of course. That's why we were waiting to hear you. And Odarid, we were waiting to hear. We understand. Somebody's saying that the Mascam people were at fault. So maybe you could explain to people what went on, Pat.
Well, what happened is they asked for our program, but it didn't get to them on time. But I don't make it an excuse for them because, you know, mass camp is an integral part of the thing. It just started, they would have made an extra call. We're going to call again and say, hey guys, we didn't get your stuff. We're going to print tomorrow. We're going to print in a few days time. You know, get our stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
But then we do expect that because we have always been treated like a foster child. We don't care about that, you know. We're doing our stuff anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we used to be at the old mission and they put us out of there time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to be on all over the place looking for a home.
Right.
So, like I say, yes, they did reach out to us, but we didn't get the program to them early enough.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're going to print a carnival program, you're supposed to make at least another call and say, hey guys, you're going to print.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we haven't heard from you. We deserve at least that.
Okay.
So I make no excuse for them at all.
But while you're there, Pat, you can tell us, I mean, you are the supreme calypso writer in Dominica. You can talk to listeners, tell them the songs you're bringing and when mass come, what's happening tomorrow night and onwards.
Well, tomorrow night is our usual Friday evening virtual tent.
Okay.
No, we voted to virtual because the live tent don't work for us financially.
Okay.
So we're doing virtual and it's less costly. The expenses are much less. And we're also able to collect contributions from the online system, you know, from WhatsApp, Cash App, Mobile Banking, and all these other systems. So it works out much better for us.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not really up to par, but it's less costly. So, and then going down to, we're going to be on every Friday night except for the weekend of the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. We have to move one day forward to give our artists a chance to rest for the competitions.
Yeah. But in terms of the song, Dice and Company, when do we expect to hear this song being released, Pat?
Well, I suspect Dice and Bob will do their launching tomorrow night.
Okay.
Checo have already released.
Mm-hmm.
Soul Post will probably do an acapella. But I believe by next week we'll be in the full swing when everybody will have released their first song.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's good, Pat. So I'm sure people are looking forward. I myself want to hear what the song's coming out. I'm looking forward to it. What about Sai? Sai in your tent as well?
Well, Sai has always been Mascam, but at the moment I haven't seen him make an appearance at Mascam. So, and the situation is a little bit touchy. So we're waiting to see what is going to turn out.
Okay. Well, you know, in Dominica, what happens anyhow? Everybody's scared. I don't know, I'm scared of what. Anyhow.
Yeah, everybody's scared.
Yeah.
And you know, like Blessings always say, what you're afraid of is not gonna avoid you because you're scared of it. It's gonna come closer to it. You're gonna attract it because of your fear. You know. But most people in Dominica are scared, and it makes you really wonder. You know. And most people in Dominica, I mean, one person. Everybody's scared of one man. Well, you know, everybody's scared of one man. And talking about that, I mean, it's not a man who is intelligent or brilliant or anything. So it's just a man who is rather a more fun blagger, so to speak. and everybody free to speak for their freedom, for their rights. And it's not a good place to be because nothing is working in Dominica.
I tell you, badly governed the country is, badly. Anyway, Pat, nice talking to you.
Good night,
Thank
Pat.
you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Take care, guys. Take
All
care.
right, guys, we have to take a break now. And when we come back, we will have the Newtown people talking about the Newtown Football League. So we'll take our first break now.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, and Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Football time. I was born yes, I know I love yes, but all of the but you directly have to we talk away that something inside you, we talk to swear those black and white t-shirts running here and there. I just fell in the gas yeah. It's up to Bob. Football girl, there'll never be another team like that. All the immigrants stand, like woman and man. Who is the greatest? If the happy, oh, it's love that you know they are people say. Football action, but not all the way. Yeah.
Okay, we are back. Well, that was
NC,
one of the famous,
NC.
the mighty NC. By the way, Norman, NC, good night. My brother, I hope everything's okay if you want. That's one of the greatest calypsos ever sang, Ronald.
I presented that song on stage.
Yeah,
I presented
yeah,
that.
Harlem. I mean, Harlem in the days, the greatest football team. Before that, it was Tom Fruit Rovers, in the days of Tom Webb and all these people. And then you had people like Tisha Jackson and Spraggs and Zai Manuel and Fox and Terminus. I mean, Harlem, some people think it's an institution in Dominica. So we want to welcome Mr. Sheldon Casimir, the president of the Newtown Football Academy, right? Off-season going on.
Yeah, chairman of the HFL.
Well, what the acronym for what? HFL?
HFL is the Harlem Football League.
Right.
And also the vice president of
Harlem
the Harlem
Club.
Football Club.
Okay, well, you're there in a dual purpose.
Dual capacity.
We'll talk about the Football League and then also about Harlem overall, because I know somebody would want to call while you heard. You probably know who.
Yeah.
Jerry Charles, I'm sure he'll be listening attentively. Yeah. Well, Charlotte, tell us, you all have started after an absence of how many years?
Yeah, we've been out since the Hurricane Maria. Actually,
Wow.
our last league was going on, and the finals was started to play the following weekend after the 18th.
Wow.
And Maria basically devastated the entire country, including the savannah. So we lost our lights, and it has been a
long rehabilitation to get back to where we are today. And our power made a promise on her platform, and she stepped up and delivered, and we have our lights, and we are very thankful for that in the community. And now we have what you are seeing and hearing as the Timbo's Harlem Football League. Timbo Sweets is one of our main platinum sponsors. They came on board again, another corporate entity within the community of Harlem, and Timbo is supposed to be putting up this new development in the Cornwall Street, Victoria Street.
I want to with Timbo.
Yeah, now you understand. Okay.
No, I understand what you're telling me with Timbo.
Yeah. So yeah, our headline sponsors Timbo's, and we have started the league once more again.
Yeah.
Well, after talk about it, spoke about the Savannah. I passed there this afternoon, and it apparently just caught it today or yesterday. It looks in top condition, to be honest. It looks nice, well cut, and it looks immaculate, really.
Before he gives the summary of what has transpired and the direction we go in, I see development on the Savannah. So the lights on, but sooner or later we need to do something about the surface.
Yes,
we need something about the surface. The surface is rough.
Definitely.
And we need to take a judgment call as to if we're going to allow people to have social activities on the Savannah.
Yeah, so this is one of the dilemmas that I am faced with, especially in my capacity as the vice president of the club. I am having had a background in event management and putting on event productions. Since taking up my position within the Harlem fold, I have kind of taken the bull by the horn as the front person in terms of when people approach us for the use of the Savannah. Because as someone whose football is very dear to my heart, and also knowing what the social impact of entertainment activities does bring, not only socially but economically to the community, I try to find that delicate balance in terms of the type of events that we have on the Savannah to raise crucially needed funds to help do the type of rehabilitations that you guys are seeing and saying that, you know, the Havana is looking nice and that type of thing. But yeah, we have like a two-stage plan working on right now. And one of the two stages is the resurfacing of the field. And the other stage would be to come up with a proper seating, amenities, teams, building that can stretch from the corner by Margarine all the way down to Mr. Ken, with sitting on top, double-decker type. Like, I've seen it been done on small fields before. It's just a matter of...
And there you have the space.
Yeah, we have some space there, and we have engaged one of our architects from the community, and he basically is doing it gratis as his contribution back to the community. And we are, I would want to say, about 90% there in the plans for that stage. So as soon as we have those two components down and actually have a plan solidified by a budget, then we can now come and see how we can raise our thermometer and see how we can reach the red mark to say that we have reached the goals. Because I feel Harlem as an institution, as you guys said earlier, we have that diaspora pool. We have people who have a genuine interest in seeing the development of the club, seeing the development of the youth in football, seeing the development of the community at large, and seeing the development of built spaces within the community. So I feel once we have those solidified plans, then we can work those plans towards meeting the goals of and executing.
You spoke about, I think we're asked a question about terms of having activities. Well, we know it's the carnival season. Have you all been approached to have any kind of activity during the Savannah during the carnival season?
Yeah, well, Viva have approached us as early as when they left the Savannah last year.
Viva is, what is Viva group?
Viva is the Saturday afternoon fete that happens on the Savannah. It has been happening on the Savannah for the past 4 or 5 years.
Is that the night of the Calypso competition?
Same night of the Calypso.
Well, you know, I asked you that because I heard people talking to me about the clashes. Usually, when there's a Calypso final, now that never happened before. You know, they're watching Calypso, Ronald Thompson, but now people say it competes with the Calypso. that when you have an activity like that on the Sabbath, on the same night of the Calypso final.
Yeah, well, that is one of the things. When you're living in a free society, then everybody has the opportunity to do free commerce and come up with events. At the end of the day, the music that I danced to as a child, my children don't listen to it. The music that there's always some kind of a nuance between the ages.
But children, I take that argument, but we have to be improving all the time.
Yeah.
We can't come from a Kada slip so that's so colorful and go into dirty business.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Oh well, I totally support
you
you.
cannot go in that direction.
I totally
The
support you on that one.
colorfulness, the variety of the music, you're in all instruments, and fellas are singing and telling a message.
Mm.
Today reach a stage where it's one rhythm and guys are saying what they want. Oh,
No.
nasty music.
Nasty business.
Yeah, but then again, that may be at the end of the day, that is just one. And I'm very passionate about music. And that is just one genre of music or one splinter of the music that may not appeal to you guys and your generations. But at the same time, there are musicians in Dominica as we speak right now who are holding strong and holding firm to the musical legends of the past and playing the cards,
Improving.
and building on it. You understand?
Like when Bouillon started, we was quality music.
Like
WCK and First Serenade played quality Bouillon, telling a story. You heard music, you heard all the different music. But
yeah, but you still have that happening today, Ronald.
No, we allow that to happen.
No, that is
but
still happening
Kazu,
today.
where we want you to focus.
Exactly. So let's get back. Now you spoke about the plans to develop. How are you all hoping to get the funds for a project like that?
Okay, so at the end of the day, well, I spoke to the fact that Harlem in itself, I think Harlem has that strong pride of do for self, and we have been doing for self for years. The guys that were there before me, the stalwarts, like O-Girls and them, they had self-help groups, they had groups that would help teach others, they had the INE, self-education. So we have that pride within the community that we want to do for self. Now, on projects of that nature, such a big capital investment that will have to go into it, we definitely see that we're going to need partners. But we want to show the
hold on, some people are complaining about your mic is a bit low. Probably you need to speak a little louder.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
Text here. Speak a little louder. People are saying your mic is too low.
Yeah, so I'm saying that because we need partners, we basically going to actually reach out to the possible partners that are out there. Public sector for sure. The government has to play a role, because at the end of the day, we're building a space that is we want to build and develop a space that's going to benefit the entire community. So we have to choose and get a champion within the government. We're looking for champions and get a champion within the government that will champion the cause of our project. We also see the private sector as a crucial partner in this, because at the end of the day, the space is one that has the potential to generate a lot of economic activity around it. And then the different private sector entities that would benefit from that economic activity being generated in that space would maybe see the opportunity for them to invest and develop the space, for that the overall experience of the patrons, the people who enjoy the space, would be one that would maybe have some more dollars flow into their pockets on the back end. So definitely the Harlem diaspora, people out there who want to support the club, or the private sector, and also the state. We definitely see those three areas as the main areas for raising those funds to do the type of projects that we're looking at.
Okay, let's talk about the league itself now, the Obstacle League. It started, how are things going on? Tell us and everybody that's listening there, because you have millions of people listening to you.
Yeah, so the league started off with the Soccerama. During the Soccerama, it was a very exciting, guys only had like maybe 20 minutes to play a full game. It was a very exciting league. The 767 young ballers emerged winners. That is team that Dunstan Maggie Peters is at the helm of. And if you guys know of the Harlem Football League in the most recent times, Maggie has always been trying to recruit some of all who his team has always ended up being all who that don't make it onto a team. He'll take up the stragglers and still give them the opportunity to make a team. But now Maggie's team is like a powerhouse and is a force to be reckoned with. They copped the Timbo's Soccerama title so far, and we have had 2 weeks of games so far, and very exciting games. We have teams. Our core teams are from the Harlem community, and for those of you who know, Harlem stretches far and wide. We have also saw the need to invite some teams who stretch a little beyond the community, but because of the closeness in terms of the demographics of the players, social backgrounds, the closeness, maybe some of them even make up some of the Harlem squad, a lot of them coming from, so we have a team from Fokole representing, we have a team from Tarishpit representing Naturescape. We also have Bavestate, our distant cousins, although across the bridge, although we fight some brutal battles in the national leagues, but we still recognize that the people in Bavestate are our distant cousins across the bridge. So they are also invited into the fore. This year, we also took the opportunity to invite a team from Grand Bay, from Center. Again, the demographics of the team does fit the bill of what Harlem represents. And one of the young boys who is at the helm of that Center team is actually a young boy from Harlem, from Fortney, who moved up to Grand Bay, and he's trying to at least spread the passion of football.
How many teams do you have in the league?
We have 10 teams so far. And then we also have another team from Soufriere. And our Soufriere team is maybe 90% Harlem players making up that team. So that team is also a very strong team within the league, because for the past couple of years, our quadrant of Soufriere players has been a very powerful core to complement the guys from Newtown area.
Yeah, well, so something has gone wrong in Newtown. We reached a stage where Soufriere footballers are dominating the Harlem football team.
This is.
So I mean,
you can answer that. I mean, big comment, Ronald.
I'm a Newtown man. You know, I'm a Newtown man.
But I agree. I concur with you.
Yeah, we know the history of Newtown and the history of the two teams we had, the Harlem Bombers and Spurs.
Hold on. Speak. A lot of people are saying. Speak a little louder. There, people saying they're a little low. When people are saying that.
See, boys, volume. Give me his mic volume.
Use my.
There's volume there.
Yeah. Use my. Let's see if it'll be better.
Okay, Caso. So you've got 10 teams. And how are you going so far with your fixtures?
So far with the fixtures, we have had. I want to also get back on that little topic that you discussed. You mentioned there, because it's definitely something that we are aware of, and definitely can have a little conversation on that. But let's get back to the fixtures. Well, so far we have had the 767 young ballers played the Boland Minimat Center FC. That's a team from Grand Bay. That was our first game in week 1, and that ended in a 2-1 to the favor of young ballers. So again, they showing that they have that prowess. On Friday, Young Stars is a team, Savannah boys, basically. On the core of the Savannah, that is the guys that raise up around the Savannah area, versus Fokole. Young Stars beat Fokole 2-1. Bafa State played Mighty Avengers. They beat them 4-1. That was on the Sunday. And then we had a situation where our Naturescape team reached late for a match, and that is one of the things that we try not to tolerate and trying to instill in them, that if you reach late, there's going to be penalties. So
who's assisting you, the officiating? Who's assisting you?
Okay, so on the officiating side, we have a pool of officials who are from the community and from the different teams. So each team has volunteered 3 of their more senior players who have maybe had a little experience officiating games to volunteer towards the officiating. We also see some of the regular match officials coming in to help out and sharpen their skills at the games. So actually on the weekend we had Blaga holding a flag. I know you know Blaga. Ashimo came in and hold a flag. We have had people like Kimon Walsh, Derwin Francis, some of the younger players, Kasim Peltier, who was our current captain just before he got injured on Harlem. So we are some of the young national team players. Marshall, I saw him holding a flag one day. Like, basically, we have a good cadre of young and senior people from the community who seeing that this is what we're doing and we need the little strength where officiating is concerned, and they're pitching in. So
you're going to do a round robin, and do you intend to do a playoff?
No, well, basically it is 2 zones. It's a 2-zone setup.
Okay.
And in zone A, we have Naturescape, Soufriere, Bert Motors, Young Stars, Fonkole, and Kingshill. And in zone B, we have Young Ballers, Center FC, Bath Estate, Mighty Avengers, and Harlem NGFA, the NGFA wing of Harlem, the young boys playing also there. So they're going to play off in a round robin against each other, and then the top 2 teams will advance and we'll move it into a playoffs. The time that we have for the league is very short. We have a very short window, so we're trying to bang it out and to be over with this a week before Carnival begins.
We have to ask you that because I think the DFA are hoping to start getting in February, right?
In February.
So I'm going to ask you if you all hoping to finish before the DFA Premier League starts.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely plan to finish before the league starts. And one of the foundation blocks set for the league is preparing for the actual DFA league, preparing the club and team, getting an opportunity to see players, see new players, scout players, and trying to get them into a state of training while they're not training, because they're playing constant games, so that will keep at least a level of fitness, so that the time between when the Premier League ended to when it starts again, at least we will have players that are still keeping a level of activity in terms of the football that they're playing and stuff like that.
Something you wanted to ask him. Lobby, you want to ask a question?
Yeah,
go ahead,
Lobby. Yes, first of all, Siba, I always have a concern with this off-season. Serious concern. As I said, the league is in November. In terms of our preparation, all right, and I can see that itself, the National League itself, our teams are doing too well because the league is not doing too well. There's an adequate preparation. And 2 is it is sad to hear that 90% of the players coming from Soufriere, when you have an academy for...
No, I didn't say that.
No, he didn't say that. What he said was that a particular team. He said not overall.
I said on the Soufriere team, the team from Soufriere that is playing in the league, 90% of their players are part of our club. So like at the end of the day, we see Soufriere as basically Harlem. Also, like the Harlem umbrella has opened wider to engulf Soufriere into it. You understand? Yeah. So I hope that is clarified and the entire world is hearing what I said today, because I don't want to leave the studio and end up in...
Okay,
yeah.
I got that.
All right.
That's good. I'm glad you clarified that. It's not that Harlem is sold out. It's expanding about. I think it's a good idea. I think it's good. You know, you look for the talent, and also it supports the league as well. It supports the league, you know. So congratulations to the Harlem Sports Club for organizing this league, the football academy. And I know it's been going on for many years now, right? I remember my nephew was part of that many years ago, and it's good to see that, you know.
Yeah, well, thing about Harlem, it's so multi-pronged. Like you speaking of Harlem the club, but then you have the swarm and spin into the academy.
The academy,
and
yes.
although both of them situated in the same place, they are two separate and distinct entities. The academy in itself, we have one of the founding members and stalwarts in Ronald Lander, Oliver Grell, Boo, and all the others who form the academy. And I again, just like Harlem, seeing one of the things in my community that was started by legends, and me aspiring to be a legend myself, decided to put my time and energies into those two things. Yeah. And the football academy definitely doing well. Also, we just concluded a tour of St. Lucia, and we traveled with upwards of 80 people. I think that's maybe the largest contingent who has left Dominica on tour. Well, the thing with the Newtown Juvenile Football Academy, the demographics is even much wider than Harlem right now, because we have parents from all over seeing what we're doing in Newtown and having interest.
Accompany the kids?
Yeah, we had
that's good, man.
We had 3 teams, under 12, under 14, and under 17, and we had a cadre of coaches, and we had a contingent of parents. So in upwards of 80 plus people went to St. Lucia just recently.
Who is the head coach now of the Newtown Juvenile Football Academy?
The president of the Newtown Juvenile Football Academy is Don Leoga.
So he's the head coach as well?
Yeah. And
the president
and head technical person.
Okay.
Okay. But Sheldon,
yeah,
I am very happy that we've started that league again in Newtown, so we can get the football going. But in terms of a junior league, are we considering, maybe not this year, but is it something that we have on the plan and program to get going again?
Yes, definitely. Actually, Ronald, I've been writing proposals for the last couple of years, trying to see how I could bring back what we knew as
the junior league,
the under 13 leagues, right? That is what you guys was organizing when we came in with C&J Rock Rovers, Black Rocks, and Harlem. But the thing about it is, what I have noticed, because the demographics of the different teams and academies across the island are mostly voluntary coaching scenarios. Most of those coaches have day jobs that maybe during my time, people like Joe and Terry and Sir Charles was off for the summer, and Saka Boy and all the different coaches who had them summer times completely to themselves and could just have a band of kids every day coming to the Savannah. That has been proven to be a little bump in the road. What we did approaching the end of this summer, we had 3 weeks. The last 3 weeks of summer, we did a summer program with the academy, and then the last 3 weeks of summer, we had what we called, and was the first installment of what we call the HFL Youth Series. And we just worked with who that could come at the time. And the Newtown Juvenile Football Academy took part. We had a team from Tarish. Tarish also took part in under 13, under 12, under 14, and under 16 categories. And Tarish had 3 teams. Point Michelle came with 1 team. We had a team from We United, who came down all the way from Castle Bruce to play some games with us. And yeah, we just did it for 3 weeks where everybody got a chance to play everybody. And that worked out pretty nicely. So the plan is maybe for this summer to try and see if we can get some more stakeholders on board and to get more teams interested, because I definitely see one of the crucial things that our macro is missing is the micro leagues. We don't have the young people playing steady competition enough, and that was a testament of when we went to St. Lucia, one of the clubs that I came up with my under 12 boys. The coach told me that these guys playing every weekend. So they practice 2-3 times for the week and they play a game on the weekend, every weekend in a competitive league. So if we can get something like that going in terms of the youth categories, yeah, my heart will be in a good place.
Let me ask you, Harlem, we know, have produced a number of outstanding players. Some of them have gone through the great beyond. You still have to learn them around, people like Zai Manuel, Herminot, Irvin Benoit, Fox. Have you all made an effort to try and bring some of them around so that the players now can see some of the former greats of Harlem Bombers?
Yeah, definitely. Like it's a good thing that you just mentioned Fox, and we recently had a post-mortem meeting, and that happened at my house. We invited the entire club to just come around cook a jot. That is how I feel most of the issues that you can deal with can be thrashed out. So we had a nice cook up. We put a tent on the savannah in the yard, and everybody sit down in a round table. There was no head table or side table. It was a round table, and one of the only people who must have gone to mostly all of our games was Fox. Fox traveled to mostly all of our games. So we
back home, Fox?
Yeah, Fox is back home, yeah.
Okay.
And we brought Fox up, and Fox had the opportunity, just like the president, just like myself, the other members of the executive, just like all the team members, to address the team and to point out what our miscomings, what he saw that was working, and what he feel that we should maybe try and sharpen up ourselves on. So yes, definitely. And we are reaching out to some of the other players. Peter Greenaway definitely always stops by on the field. And if you know, like the kind of lethal striker that Peter was, Peter, like his boots and goals were synonymous, and we hoping to try and see how we can get that type of energy back into some of our young players again. Players are just like, from the time they smell the ball, this is this goal. And I feel like this is one of the things that we as a team, I watch and I see we're not hungry to score the goals like how we used to be before. So that is a shortcoming, and that is something that we definitely want to work on. So Peter and some of the other guys have been coming around and giving that kind of support. Reggae comes by.
Zah, not hearing you coming by. Zah Emmanuel. Come on, Zah. You have to do better than that.
Yeah, we'll have to call on Uncle Zah to come and see us. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you. So the club, you think, is in good hands now, right?
Yeah. Well, we're trying, and we are hoping to. I mean, at the end of the day, we always looking, like, for me as a young one of the younger people who came into the Harlem Fold, I actually have been part of the executive since 2004. So I am 2 decades now. Even though I call myself one of the younger people, I still feel like we need to even bring some of the younger ones into the fold. And we need to still pull back some of the wisdom and guidance from those that have gone before us, so that we may not go down the same paths and lead to the same mistakes, or they may even guide us into, okay, this is what we tried to do, that didn't work, maybe you should go that way, you know. So definitely our arms and our ears are open to input from the wider community, from our elders, and even from the younger ones that we see on the side of the road, and we may discount them because we just see them sit on the side of the road, but sometimes they have a little spark of genius in them, and it's just to engage them. So like, I trying to be that bridge between the two generations and see how we can bring the community together to try and get back to that glory days of that song that NC was singing.
Well, what shall then come see
you? Yes, no, the question I want to ask, because Ron asked about the younger kids. What about the older? Do you have a league for the over 40s or something? That's something.
Well, not exactly a league, but one of the games that we have scheduled on our roster, and that will be on the weekend of the finals, is a veterans game.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. It's a
Back it
veterans
out,
game.
you get tired too quickly.
No.
You burn out too quick.
Yeah. So we're looking at the veterans, you know, like the Derwin Francis
Jean Paul still
and all of them that
yeah.
feel like they can run a little 90, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Some of the guys will tell you they'll come and cheer, but they're not in that.
Well,
running
that's
team.
good. I mean, bring me from Zar Ronald, all these guys in shop, all of them, and bring them. Where is Tishon Jackson? Is it Dominic at all? Robert Tishon and that left for Harleman. Sprags, all people like Sprags.
But
you can try to get Sprags on them anytime, you know,
Yeah.
on this program.
Sprags very shy.
Shy, man. So
But Sheldon, what we would like to do maybe in the next 2 weeks, you can come in to give us an update.
Yeah, definitely.
As to
Any
what is going on in the
anytime
league.
that you guys want me, I will make myself
updates,
available.
yeah.
I just want to also take the opportunity to shout out the other sponsors, because I mentioned Timbo's in a big
do that quickly because we have to move on.
who was the platinum sponsor,
Mhm.
but we also have our gold sponsor, who is Honorable Shakira Lockhart Hippolyte. We have our silver sponsor, which is Ruben's Bakery, another stalwart in the community, and our bronze sponsor, which is Moran Seas and Sons on Cornwall Street. So these are the people within the community that have put their money where their mouth is and basically came out to support the league, and I want to give them that
You need
little
to give
plug
them,
in.
you need to give them that.
So Sheldon, let's say thank you very much for joining us. We will be talking to you again. And we wish Harlem, I'm sure I speak for all of them when I say we wish you all Harlem all the best. Okay?
Yeah, thanks much,
Thank you,
guys.
man.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right.
Thank you, man. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, boy. I mean, it was nice speaking, guys. Lobby. I mean, Lobby, Harlem used to be arch rival in the days of Kensborough, right? Although, Lobby, are you hearing us?
No, one thing you have to remember in those days, when football was over, we all end up by the Savannah, by Kens. We all ended up when Harlem and Kensborough would be playing. At the end, the night time, we all would meet by the Savannah.
By Ken. By Ken.
By Ken.
But you know, I saw that afternoon one of the greatest displays of football by one guy who destroyed Harlem. I can never forget. You remember that afternoon?
Jomo.
You remember who talking about? Not Rowan Abu. Coco Shoe on his own destroyed Harlem. That I've never forgotten. The guy ran this. Yeah, in fact, Coco Shoe, they beat Harlem 4. The guy took the ball and it was a one man wrecking through Coco Shoe.
And I remember Immortalized Forever was that graphic done by Peter Lugue.
Yes.
The artist of the New Chronicle had this Coco Shoe running circles.
Boy, I know that afternoon, but the guy had the fellas. It was a one man wrecking crew. He destroyed them that afternoon. Harlem had no answer, you know.
Yeah.
No answer at all to Robertson Hippolyte, Coco Shoe.
That was probably one of the more memorable
I
games.
can never forget that. One of the greatest displays of football I've seen in Dominica.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I think we'll take a break now, and Donnie Robinson will try and get in touch with Donnie Robinson. Well, let's take the call up. Good evening. Hello? Hello?
Hey, good evening, Sibo.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Thomas Fontaine.
Yes, good evening.
And
Ronald and Lobby.
And Ronald.
Okay.
I just call you all to wish you all the best for 2024. One of all you will be well, Sibo know who that, eh?
Yes.
I don't call it, I just call you to wish you all the best. And Dr. Thomas Fontaine also.
Thank you, man.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you.
Sir.
Take care of all yourself.
Okay. Let's take a small break, Thompson. Yeah.
Rudolph Thomas Enterprise in Portsmouth, your suppliers of building materials and hardware products. Over 20 years experience in the business. Rudolph Thomas has lumber and plywood, Portland and tile cement, steel rods, galvanized and fenced pipe, And Rudolph Thomas can meet all your wire needs. Galvanized roofing sheets, doors, windows, toilet sets, face basins, and bidets. PVC piping, fittings, and lattice. Check out Rudolph Thomas for ceramic and vinyl floor and wall tiles, nails, nuts and bolts, paint and painting supplies. And check out their line of electrical and hand tools. And Rudolph Thomas is your one-stop shop for hard-to-find items like fiberglass mat and fiberglass resin and welding rods. Go now to Rudolph Thomas on 1240 Bay Street in Portsmouth.
Presents night number 8. Night number 8 in the face of all adversity. This Friday, January 5th, it's going to be Blackout Friday at Showdown Mass Camp upstairs at the Faith Restaurant on Fields Lane from 8:30 p.m. So dress in black. Come and soak in the new songs from The Explosion, Checo, King Dice, and the official release of King Bob for 2024. Mass Camp will be on fire. Come and enjoy the triumph Lady B, Piccolo, Lulu, Big C, Trinity, Lady S, Prince of Peace, Oracle, Mask Eruption, and more. The Faith Restaurant on the corner of Fields Lane and Independence Street. Don't worry, your GPS will get you there, where a well-stocked bar awaits you. From 8:30 to 8:33, all drinks will be on me. Our sponsors, EMS, Do It Center, KFC, Bright Start VC Online, VF Inc., JD's Punch and Flow. Yes, man, this is how we flow. This Friday, be there. Don't forget, we are dressed up in black.
You ready? Yeah, so
Yeah. We're back on? Okay, we're back on. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us the president of the Dominica Basketball Association, Mr. Donnie Robinson, who has agreed to join us for a few minutes. Donnie, Happy New Year to you. Good night.
Thank you guys for having me. Happy New Year to you guys as well.
Well, Ronald is there, Thompson is there, Lobby is there.
Okay, good night, gentlemen. Happy
Good
New Year.
night.
to all.
Happy New Year.
Blessed New Year. Blessed New Year.
Yeah. Well, Donnie, 2023 is finished. 2024 has started. I guess you probably want to tell listeners the highlights of 2023 and what you're hoping to do in 2024.
Can you go over that again with me? I cannot be sure you broke up.
Okay, what I just said is that 2023 is over. So we're starting a new year. So I'm sure you want to tell listeners your achievements for 2023 and what you're hoping to do in 2024.
Yes, well, 2023 was a challenge. I mean, we basically brought basketball back from 6-7 year hiatus, and but in our opinion, I think it was a successful year. We were able to relaunch the National League. We were able to do some interesting things and getting basketball back. Have a functional executive and getting people back involved in the game. Having said that, we obviously still want a lot more participation and that good stuff. We still have a lot of work to do. But overall, 2023, as much as it was a challenge, I think from where we were to where we ended up at the end of the year, it was a decent year for basketball.
Yes. Looking at the 2024, when do we expect the league to start? And also, will there be any regional competitions?
Yeah, so we good question. We actually looking at the league starting right after Carnival, sometime the first half of March. That's the plan for now. So we actually started working on our plans for 2024 in detail. There are a couple regional tournaments that will happen. They haven't announced any FIBA sanctioned tournaments yet, but we are working feverishly with a couple of our neighboring islands to have some inter-island tournaments. And for sure this year, that's one of our main goals, is to give our national players something to look forward to and to get exposed. Therefore, obviously develop the sport. So that's what we are expecting.
Okay.
Yes, Donnie Thompson here. Talking about developing the sport and looking forward to next year. How many teams do you expect? Are you expecting to enlarge the number of teams that are taking part in the tournament next year?
In terms of the National League, you mean?
Yes, in terms of the National League, yes. In terms of the numbers of teams participating.
This year, if we have to measure, this year was, I think it was, in terms of among the teams, we had a fair amount of teams, but we have already started getting interest from new teams that were not even playing in the last league. So we are expecting to have a decent increase. I would go to the limit and say at least 25-30% increase in the amount of teams. Having said that, we had almost 20 plus teams, 25 teams or so in our last league, taking both divisions into consideration. But one thing we must do, and we are really disappointed that we were not able to do it in 2023, was to have a female league. So there's going to be some emphasis on that.
Okay, that's excellent. I'm also curious about the participation by the sporting public in terms of the support for basketball. I remember many years ago, the games were sold out. The people were there filling up the
Windsor Park,
the seats,
the
especially when it was at the Windsor Park. I'm wondering, what is it those days? Are you seeing an increase in the interest from the sporting public in terms of participating in those games?
I think over the season that increased a lot. I mean, when we started, it was, we would have half full houses, 75% full. But by the time we got to the playoffs part, which is the top 4 or 5 teams of the league, both divisions, I mean, the facility was sold out pretty much all games. What we want, obviously, is for that to be a constant, so that can help not just with the popularity of the sport, but also the economics of it as well. So, we saw the increase in participation from the general public towards the end of the league, and we're hoping that can continue. I'm guessing the lull in the sport didn't help, but now that we have basketball back, I think that will help keep the people coming.
Go ahead, Lobby. Go ahead.
Yes, Donnie. Yes, I've observed that the game is not what happened to Grand Bay. What happened to basketball in Grand Bay?
Well, Grand Bay. I mean, it's not all bad. Grand Bay participated in the Division 1, not in the Premier League, and they did very well. They have a small, young crowd. But the championship team came from Fischler, which is, in the same southern environment. So
no, but why ask about this? Because it is. I am surprised to hear that Grand Bay is not in the Premier Division. I'm very much surprised that the game they have, the game is not as alive as before. When yes, Fischler won, but I was hoping that Ramal would have been able, to do something big in Grand Bay. He moved to Fischler.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping we can see. I think with time we'll see Grand Bay back in the Premier League. The guys did very well in the junior division, but again, the crop of players, because of the lull in the sport, the Premier level players if you take the South as a district was kind of a challenge, I would say. So, I mean, they did well enough to put a team together in Fischler and win and be very competitive at all the games. But the challenge now is to extend that to places like Grand Bay and get Bellevue to have a team and that kind of stuff.
Yes. I know you've got the main playing area in Massac, What is the quality of the other playing areas?
Well, okay. All the other playing areas are outside, and we have decent outside facilities in Peebush, in Fischler, in Portsmouth. But obviously, it's not Massac. So what we have in terms of the level of where we get challenged the most with those facilities is to be able to start a league and run it and finish it on time. As for playing of the game, obviously it's a different level of basketball on the outdoors. You know, the level of intensity that you would do on a dive for a ball, you can take a harder drive and these kind of things. You can't do that on the outdoor court. But the facilities themselves still need some work. Obviously, you need some work in the outdoor facilities. We need some more indoor facilities. But generally, the facilities on the outdoor scale is they need some work.
But Donnie, you just
Wait,
said,
Donnie wants to ask you another question.
Yeah,
No problem.
if I heard this talking about we need more indoor facilities.
Yeah, I think the indoor facility should be the norm. I don't think.
No, but
I think if we're moving into advancing the sport and any sport, we have to actually be able to play
indoors. Yeah.
all over the country.
I have something about that, Donnie. We as a third world country, Dominica. All right. I was hoping that at Stock Farm we could have built a bigger indoor facility to service not just basketball, volleyball, netball, right? And leave Massac as an open field where people can practice when they want and how they want. That's how Windsor Park, for example, how the game grew in the Windsor Park. You could be there 24/7. It's very, very important. And also, what happened to the hard court in the Windsor Park? What happened? Are you playing games there?
No, well, the hard court in Windsor Park, it's not. We're not playing league basketball there. In terms of a surface, the hard courts are in good condition. It's not from a basketball standpoint. We don't have the basketball hoops up there. They've been damaged for a while. But going back to your question in terms of access and availability to Massac is very much accessible. There are a lot of activities going on there.
The indoor?
The indoor. Yeah, we just had volleyball, regional table tennis, regional netball.
No, when you say available, I'm to the public, people in Massac. How can they utilize?
It's available to the public. There's a committee.
So there is open 24/7?
It's not open 24/7, but it's available on schedule. You can request it and get it. There's not an issue getting availability for the
But you need public courts. You need public courts.
I agree. That's why I'm saying it should be the norm. The indoor facility should be the norm. You have that. If you have it all over the place, then it's available.
No, but this thing at Massac is too small. You should have a proper thing. If 2,000 people, do something properly. This thing, we should do something properly.
I agree 100%, Lobby.
That's not for Donnie. That question.
I know, but I'm saying it is here, and
the land of this land, the one I
I am.
Big progressive step.
Ronald wanted to ask you.
But that is one thing I'm very happy about. We were speaking earlier on to somebody from the Newtown Football League, and now we're talking to you. And we are in that underlying theme of planning and programming. That is so important that you plan and program not only for 1 year, but at least for 2-3 years as to what you want to achieve over that period of time.
Yes, I think there's one thing we might be ahead on the other executives on. We had a strategic plan that was set for 5 years, and we are in the second year of it.
Donnie, let's speak a little louder now, please, if you don't mind.
Right, so we actually went through the process of having a strategic plan laid out about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, as an association, and we've been following that for the past year and a half. And so therefore, it gave us a blueprint of what we want to do and how we want to go about it. Obviously, there are challenges, but that planning thing had always been a critical aspect of what we wanted to do as an executive, because we know the challenges that are existing. I mean, most of us have been around long enough to try and be able to identify with that. But the strategic plan has helped, and that's what we actually trying to lay out as we go forward.
Okay, so Donny, I know you have other things to deal with, so I don't want to keep you too long.
Quickly,
After our discussion today.
a quick one, Simo.
No, but he has to go. I know he has to go. Yeah. So I'll let you go now, Donny. I know you have things to deal with. So we'll talk again, huh? Thank you.
Anytime, gentlemen. Anytime.
right.
I'm always available. Anytime.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, man. Yeah, because I have something. Well, guys, we onto home stretch now, and I guess in the next half an hour, we have some interesting things to deal with the cricket, Ronald Lobby. What I want to start first with, because we have to come to the question you asked Lobby about Steve Waugh.
True.
But let's go to that test match we just finished. And I always wonder how people look at cricket, and sometimes you have coaches and so on. South Africa won the first test, right? They humiliated India. South Africa won the toss, and they bowled first in that test match. I couldn't believe South Africa won the toss in that test match and went to bat first. I was shocked on the morning of the test match.
No, but why are you shocked? They prepared a wicket to suit seam bowlers.
Right.
And in there, remember, the strength of India was still their spinners.
India only had one spinner.
They had one spinner.
But listen, go ahead. No, go ahead, make your point.
Because I'm thinking in terms of seam, they're thinking must have been that their seam bowling would outlast and that the pitch would not deteriorate as quickly as it did. And I think now that's the real problem. It looks like on the very first day, the pitch started to play kind of funny.
Yeah. But what I'm saying, the point I was making, and first of all, if I were, let's say, the president of the South African Cricket Board, what I would have said to the groundsmen, let's prepare a road then. Even if India score 1,000, we'll score 800, so the match will draw. So we will at least win the series. I do not know. I'm sure you listened to Sean Pollock during the match, was speaking about the groundsmen and the type of pitches, and he was saying, it's a lottery when you prepare a pitch like that. In fact, I remember you and Ronald made the point last week when you said you saw me hooking Joel Garner for 6. Now, you could do that on pitch. If the pitch, the bounce is even, you can trust the pitch. But on a pitch like that, there's always your name on all of these balls. I mean, look at Kohli. Kohli was looking good until one does pitch. And I just find to have a pitch like that, when you have won the first test, to me, they were crazy, honestly. Honestly, I didn't understand it. And as you said, but South Africa had 4 seamers. So if you pick 4 seamers, you should bowl first. And I didn't understand it.
But it was a very strange match.
Yeah.
Because Macron came out and scored a century.
Right, today, yeah.
So, and in the second innings. So it seems to me that in their minds, because the fact that Macron scored a century in the second innings, one could assume that they expected the pitch to improve as the game went along. And it just turned out, as you said, it's always a lottery because you might think the pitch is playing one way. In fact, one of the commentators was saying the way the pitch looked was nothing like how it played. So it could be that they thought it was a nice pitch, because some pitches do that, right? They actually get better.
When Planetary I'm saying that is why ball first. So you're not helping my point. If you're not going to play better, you bowl first, and you make use of it. You have 4 seamers, and you bowl first and try and skittle out in the, because you just bowled them out, of 3 days ago. You bowl them for 180, only 1% made runs, Kohli. So you go there, you're leading 1-0. Go and bowl them on. I just didn't understand how they play in the cricket, honestly.
And it's the first time India wins. Well,
true, the first time they have never won a series in South Africa. And they've always lost series in South Africa.
But the first time they've won a game.
At Newlands, So that's what I'm saying. They should have bowled first. I think that was an error. But having pitches like that, not going to help cricket. I mean, in the Caribbean, our groundsmen don't know what to do. To me, they're guessing. But these pitches in South Africa, my goodness, balls. I mean, you come forward sometimes and the ball might just kick towards your head. And in fact, even when what's his name got out this morning, Shubman Gill, the ball kept low. So you have one staying down and one coming to your head. And that makes batting very difficult, I can tell you.
True,
when you have pitches like that.
Uneven.
Yeah, and that is shortest in the history of Test cricket. It's shortest Test match. In the history of Test cricket. There has never been a shorter. And as they were saying, normally the New Year's Day Test matches, that's when you get big crowds. So you don't want to prepare a pitch for a match finishing and then a quarter, you're losing revenue. So
I was actually searching for comment from the South Africa side about the pitch, because it seems to me that they prepared a pitch that they thought was going to be steady, and it turned out to be different. And there was a comment that was made, I think, by Rohit Sharma, talking about the complaining that they blame them in India about preparing pitches for spinners and so on, and they kind of favored spinners, and that they don't see the similar criticism for a pitch like they had in South Africa. Is that a fair?
Yeah, I agree with him, because during the World Cup, you had, in fact, even in the finals of the 50 over, some people had reservations about the pitch, and he was, in fact, he said, if you there's a long interview with him on Cricket 4, and he said that pitches like that, they don't mind pitches like that. It helps them to improve their cricket. Because, I mean, when you play the cricket, you have to be able to bat, I mean, honestly. But as I say, it's difficult. I mean, he made the point that they say, well, India, as you know, England going to India in 2 weeks' time, 5 test matches. 5 test matches in the starting at the end of the month. So really, but in fact, he said the ICC, they are double standards. He had match referees. He said that they complain about India, but they're not. So he said he hoped
India is complaining about double standards.
No, well, Rohit Sharma today, he said they are double standards because they complain about India, and then he was referring to the pitch they played on. So he said he hoped the eyes and ears are open that a pitch like that to be played. But man, it was a difficult thing.
But given the level of science, they should never play on such a pitch.
Exactly, man. It can break your... Can you imagine you play a match and a spinner hasn't bowled a ball? A spinner hasn't bowled a ball in that test, and then the last test, Ashwin bowled 18 overs. So it's a joke. You cannot have 2 test matches and spinners cannot display their skills. Yeah, it doesn't help the cricket, honestly, and it's something they have to look at.
And see, but we see that part of the argument where we're saying that 20 overs and 50 overs is assuming more importance than Test cricket. This Test match was a very poor promotion for Test cricket.
I agree with you.
You guys have to ensure that they prepare fewer wickets for Test cricket.
Go ahead, Thompson.
No, I was just about to say, I wonder if it's not part of this experimentation, because it seems to me that they were trying something, because that pitch has not played like this before. So it appears to me that they were trying something different. All right, and it just did not work.
But you one love up.
And to me, India have two of the better seamers. So you have Rabada, one of the greatest bowlers around now. But if I'm leading 1-0, I want a road for the next test match. So if India, Kohli score 200, Rohit score, we'll score 800, so the match will go down to 5 days, will be drawn. The crowds will be there, and we'll not lose within the series. You're not going to take a chance and prepare a pitch like that when you know you're batting. You look at your batting, and you have rookies in your batting team.
You think India losing 6 wickets for no runs?
I've never heard of that. That's why I say Test cricket is really the best. I mean, to me that was exciting. Wickets are stumbling now.
But the game was still exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
Both teams.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It was an exciting game because T20s and those things sometimes. Most time, unless it's a close match, it to me is a waste of time. Watching a T20 match and one team scores 2-something and then the other team, to me, but watching that is exciting. Because even to this morning, the commentator was saying that if South Africa could have a lead of 150, you never know.
Exactly.
So the game was still open up.
And again, I go back to the fact that, Markram got a century.
And he played well,
And played very well. A century in 103
balls, correct?
Yeah. So, it is. We're talking about a pitch that is uneven, unplayable, and yet a guy gets a century at almost a runner ball. So, to me, it just shows the contrasting nature.
Because he scored 106, but his team scored 176.
Right. That's the whole thing. But he scored it quickly as well. So it means that if people had applied themselves, the match could have been different, could have turned out differently. And it's an experiment that they tried that probably did not work,
Just to give you the latest score, Australia 134 for 2. 134 for 2. Currently going on in Sydney. Last night we had a lot of rain in that test match, but Australia chasing 313, 145 for 2. Now let's go to the comment that was made by Steve Waugh.
Sorry, tell me for South Africa, Dean Elgar is retired.
He's retired. He's done.
He's retired.
But it's not bad enough for an opening batsman who has played many matches in South Africa. In fact, he's averaging 46 at home. Now, on this pitch, he's an opening batsman. It's not fun for an opening batsman, and batting on pitches. So you have to give him credit. Now, let's go to the point Steve Waugh made about South Africa going to New Zealand in 2 weeks' time with a new captain, wasn't it Neil Brandt or something like that? Only 3 players with experience, test experience going.
Yes.
And the reason why the SAT20, which starts next Monday, has to take priority. Now, I read today, I don't know if you saw it again, where the coach now is saying, if you don't have this SAT20, test cricket, because they will have no funds. So they're using the SA. But again, the ICC should step in that. You cannot have something like that where you're sending a big team to play test cricket against New Zealand, and guys, while your country is playing, men, well, the only West Indies are not doing that. I mean, playing, and what is even more sad, you know, Graham Smith, you know, was one of the great test batsmen. He's the main man in the SAT20. He's the boss. So to do that now and say that all the players must play in SAT20, I don't understand it, honestly. Yeah.
Well, I think that is bad programming. They should have organized a local T20 league where they have no commitment.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, but he was saying that they had done, and no, he said, in fact, they asked New Zealand to, if they could push it. New Zealand said, no, we're not postponing. That's when we have to play. We have to play. Yeah, they want to.
But there were even calls for New Zealand not to take part. Now that they've seen the team in South Africa.
No, but these are part of the points. You get points for the World Test Champions in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
So if you can play, you play who you have in front of you. You know. So if that's what South Africa Brigade will beat them and get points.
Let's look at a reference there, similarity. West Indies is going to Australia now, and Sibo, you made that point. You are the connoisseur when it comes to cricket. And you made that point with 7 rookies, and the quality of the team is not up to standard.
No.
Will Australia play a second 11?
I don't.
No,
They would not do that.
Australia.
They're looking not Australia for sure. Listen, in fact, I'm worried about our batting against that bowling team. You watch this guy bowling.
They will cover the full money.
But the only thing I would say, if a couple of the guys, including Ali, could make runs there for their future, it'd be good. Because you're playing against 4 high-class, world-class bowlers in Stark, Hazelwood, not the lobby, Stark, Hazelwood, Cummings, and like we have a caller. Let's 1 minute lobby. Let's take the caller. Good night. Hello. Hello. Yes. Good evening.
Yeah. Good night.
Good night, Bill. Good night. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're very well. Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me wish all of you guys who come week after week, time after time to discuss the very important issues. And you touch, so many different things in life, because you don't only touch about the sports or the cricket, which we love so much, but you touch other, things, the government, politics, different sports, and that is very important. So I would like to wish all of you and your family a bright and prosperous, successful, enjoyable, and safe 2024. And I hope that it ends up to be the best year ever for you guys.
Thank you.
And family.
Yeah. We were discussing the South Africa dilemma because they have this SAT20. They have to go to New Zealand. They have to, and it's a problem. And Ronald just made the point about the West Indies situation as well. But going to the West Indies, Ronald, he made the point. I was hearing that Shai Hope was asked, and the reason was that he declined. Now, what I know when I was a selector, all the captains must be contracted players. And I know Shai Hope is a contracted player now, like Rosman, because they released the 15. So it's crazy for you to tell me that. In fact, if you look at the ILT20 in Dubai, will be starting almost on the same day West Indies will be playing the first test against Australia. It's almost the same time. And it's crazy that a guy who is contracted, who's getting, in other words, to make it easy for people out there, is getting paid every month then. by Cricket West Indies, whether he plays or not. And you can tell me, you can allow him to go and play elsewhere and not play for the West Indies. And that is a big joke, honestly. I don't know if you guys want to comment on that.
Yeah, but Sebastian.
Go ahead, Lobby. Go ahead.
Sebastian, I'm not surprised, what is happening to cricket in the West. That's why where we are right now, Sebastian. That's the problem. We allow the players to become indispensable. All right, we allow the player. You cannot be a contracted player and you want to do what you want.
But they're allowed to do it. If not you want, you must step in and say, no, wait now.
I'm telling
you're contracted player, you have to play. The board should have been firm on that. Mr. Menard, you want to comment on that?
Yes, I mean, what you're saying, Sebastian, which make a lot of sense. And it's really a testimony and demonstration, the lack of leadership when it comes to the West Indies board and management and the people who run the cricket. Because the players, it's just like you're having a child in your home and they do all kind of things. You have no control over them when you're supposed to be the leader of the home. You're supposed to make your decision, set your standard and principles, and who ain't want to govern under those things, you have to live. I mean, it is total nonsense what really taking place, not only in West Indies, because of the 2020, the money cricket. There are people, because look at one of your favorite players, Holder. He decided he don't want to go to Australia. He wants to go play 2020 cricket.
But he didn't get. He wasn't even bought in the IPL. No team selected him in the IPL. Ronald, you want to comment?
Yeah. Holder was a lot of promise, but he's plateaued off very early. Holder, when I saw Holder is playing against what's the name of this team? They known for football, and he got in one over, in a special over.
You mean Scott?
Netherlands.
And
they scored over 30 runs on Holder.
Yeah.
How could you be at that level of cricket, play against Netherlands, and they score over 30 runs on you in one over? It shows that this guy has plateaued off. I don't expect much from him. I have Rutherford. Rutherford is somebody I see some promise and somebody we should look in closely at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like I say, you brought up the thing about the West Indies, and I fear for the West Indies in the two test match in Australia. Honestly, I'm hoping it will not be a one-sided stuff where we get bowled out for 100 like today and matches finished. I'm sure the Australians wouldn't want that. In fact, one of the test matches is a day-night match. So obviously, they put the match there so that they can get spectators. But my God, I fear for our players, honestly.
Yeah, and then it is part of the ICC
World Test Championship. Yeah.
Australia is currently 4th on the table.
Right.
So they're going to use that opportunity
to get points. That's what I'm saying.
And move up the table.
So they will have their full team.
They will come. They'll come.
Australia will have their full team. Yeah. Yeah. Because remember, after that, Australia play 2 matches again in New Zealand in March. And the next time they will play a test match will be probably till October, November. So I don't think they will not play all the players, their main players. I don't think so.
Thibault,
yes,
it's a chance. Listen to me, Sebastian. Look at the cricket. What in our heyday, how we humiliated the cricket nations, is a chance to humiliate us. Seriously. First of all, as I said, Sebastian, we cannot move from T10 cricket to play 5-day test match. That it is too short. The preparation has been too short. There's been no preparation.
No, well, I know there's a camp going on right now in Australia. That I know. There's a camp, and then next week they play a 4-day game against, I think, the Prime Minister 11 or something like that. That's the only 4-day game they have before the test on the 16th of January, the first test match.
Today, that is what's been 14 days, 12 days from now. It is just ridiculous, Sebastian. It's ridiculous. First of all, as you said, look at the bowling. What kind of bowling these guys have been facing in the Caribbean compared to what they're going to face in Australia? All right.
Well,
but you can never tell. I remember when Hope got his double century
in England.
in both innings. He got centuries, and then Hope was just nobody had heard about him necessarily, and we might just have somebody half an hour that comes in there. You know, so
the wickets are fast.
Hold on, Thompson making the point. Hold on, Lobby. Go ahead, Thompson.
Yeah. So the point I was making is that yes, we are saying that it really favors Australia because you're playing against Australia in Australia. They know their conditions, they know their pitches and so on. But at the same time, you just never know. There is a chance that somebody could just step up. You know?
Well, Brian Lara's fame started in 277. Remember in Australia? You remember that? Yes, that's how he started his career. And like I said, it might be an opportunity for one or two or three of the guys go out there, make runs, and under difficult conditions. And then there's a young fast bowler, Joseph himself from Guyana. So he does never know. It's a tough thing proposition for them, but some people could just come through that. Mr. Maynard, you want to comment?
Yeah, well, at least what you're saying, yes, which obviously when you get an opportunity, it is for you to go there and put your best foot forward. You're talking about playing at the highest level, and you're playing against the best team with an outstanding and experienced attack at home. You know, with this kind of form that Australia is in, you know, it's not going to be very easy at all for the West Indies players. And as I said, you know, the selectors are responsible, the board are responsible for where we are, not giving the best people the opportunity to represent the West Indies, and then people who have the talent and the experience and whatever, who should be there, are not interested in going. So there's a lot of problem which we definitely have to get sorted out. But I'm here looking at some good cricket at its very best. You know, as you rightfully mentioned, because Pakistan would have batted first, and they had an excellent 9-wicket partnership of some 80-something. So they scored over 300 runs, and then Australia with 147 for 2. And, you know, 2 experienced players at the crease. We expect them to put on a very good partnership and take them maybe past that 3-something, and then put Australia in a strong position. Rain had the better, say, on the second day. So they would have to really put in some good performance between now and the 5th day. But I still think you can get the 3 results from this game.
Yeah, you still have plenty time to go the game.
Plenty time.
No,
but coming back to the West Indies team, should Darren Bravo have been on this team?
Well, okay. No, but hold on, Mr. Maynard. He was offered and he didn't accept.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was asked. In fact, it's interesting you say that now. Let me read for you now. Let me read something for you, Mr. Maynard. Ronald, let me just get that quickly.
So why are you looking for that, Sibo? You know he's back in training.
Well, I was not going to read it for you.
Yeah, he's back in training.
He started training. So he's back. After his break, he started training. So he's going to play in the 4-day competition, which starts next month. So he's back in training. But, you know, the Trinidad coach Furlong said he's surprised that Darren didn't accept the invitation. Now, Darren, you know, has a history against the short balls. So some people feel he didn't want to go for fear that he might fail. And that's what some people feel. So maybe he should have accepted it. And not only if he went there and made runs, it would have been future, it would have been good for him. Exactly. Because look, he's starting back again. But as we talk about West Indies, you all must have heard again when the ball is fine selected again. You heard that, right?
The fine selected.
Roland Butcher they're using a nice technical way. His contract has not been renewed. The Robert Haynes, the youth selector, not been renewed. Travis Dowling, and the West Indies. You know how many selectors the board has had in the last so many years? I mean, you cannot have continuity when you do things like that. And this guy is a big joke what's happening. Really, it's a big joke. Yeah. In fact, I spoke to Roland himself. I said to him, welcome to the club. He laughed. So he told me he was shocked when he got the letter. All it said that your contract will not be renewed and blah, blah. No reason were given, that's all. I mean, this thing is really something else.
So any sips, you know, as to who's going to replace
Well,
them?
what they're saying is that
It's you, right?
they have no, I don't know. They say they have a new policy they're working on, and they've extended Desmond Haynes till June, so he's still as the chairman. And they want to have a new policy. They say so down the road, people will know. They've kept the women's Anne Brown, who is chairman of the women's selection. They've kept her as well. So, but the problem is you have 4-day cricket starting next month. Who is going to watch those matches? Simon has to decide. So, but it's a whole mess, really. It's just a mess that's happening. A complete mess. So nobody knows what's happening. Nobody knows what's happening.
And Sebastian, when you look at it, look at the performance of Desmond Haynes. When you really check this, under Desmond Haynes, West Indies have had the worst record because it is the first time West Indies did not make it to the World Cup. And that was under the selection chairmanship of Desmond Haynes.
Well,
so what the board is saying, and that is why I tried to get in when the president was there, you know, because there's certain questions I wanted to ask him and certain things I wanted to tell him and to advise him, you know, in terms of the nonsense that continue to take place when it comes to the West Indies cricket. There are combination of reasons why the West Indies team we find ourselves in this kind of position, not going anywhere, not benefiting anything, not gaining anything, you know. So it just continue to be a big joke, and if the leadership is weak, the leadership do not have what it takes to make a difference, to bring any benefits and things like that, it's going to continue to be a problem. We will not be going anywhere. Well, we'll be going somewhere, but it's just that we'll be reversing instead of moving forward.
Yeah, but also, Sibu, you know, another aspect that I wanted to bring in is the number of tests in a series. We seem to be having 2 test series.
Right.
Shouldn't there be a minimum, say, of 3 tests, at least 3 tests?
Yeah, because
that idea that 2 test series and then you have.
Do you know England? I was watching the schedule. England are playing 17 test matches this year. 17. Now South Africa has just played 2. They're going to New Zealand 2. The next time they will play till about they probably 1 test match in November. Now in there, I've just played 2. They have 5 test matches coming up, starting at end of January. Then what they do, as soon as the series finishes, they play the IPL, and then they have Australia. They're going to Australia for 5 tests. Now, the 5 test matches are only played between India, England, and Australia. So you leave all that now. How the other countries are going to improve? Other countries cannot improve if they don't play against the stronger teams. I mean, look at Zimbabwe, they're more or less out of cricket. Afghanistan don't play tests. Bangladesh, and you know, I always find it wrong what is happening. Take for instance, India will play in their 5 test matches. As soon as they finish, they start the IPL. Now, when the IPL, everything stops. So nobody's playing international. It's not fair. In fact, all of us knew, we grew up knowing West Indies season start from January. So test matches in the West Indies, all of them played between January, February, March, April. Now that has changed. I think Pakistan are coming to the West Indies in August, I think. So West Indies are not going to play test match
during the dry season.
West Indies go to England in July, 3 test matches. But that's not fair. So it cannot be that England, 17 test matches this year alone, England are playing. 17.
Wow.
Some between West Indies, about 3 countries, not even playing that. So it's not fair. So you're right. The ICC has to look at that. They have to look at that. Because what you will find, and it comes to the point where the South African coach now is saying, without the South African T20, the South African cricket will not survive because they will not have the revenues to run their cricket. So
now, also, is there an expectation that the teams for the Test Championship, that the teams have to play an equal number of games?
Well, you have, but again, you cannot play equal because India and Pakistan don't play at all. India and Pakistan do not play because we know why, political reasons. So they don't play at all against each other. So these are matches and you don't even know what happened to the points for these matches because
Yeah,
they don't play.
Because I think they have a very complicated way of calculating. Because,
Yeah.
for example, Australia has already played 7 games.
Right.
West Indies has played 2.
2, right.
But and also England has played 5 games.
Mhm.
They have more points than the West Indies, but
Mhm.
they're ranked below the West
Mhm.
Indies.
Yeah.
Even if they have more points. It's very
Mhm.
complicated. I think
Yeah.
they kind of take in the number of games that you play
Mhm.
and how you win. So you
Mhm.
can actually be below a team even if you have more points than
Mhm.
the team. So it's a
Mhm.
very strange kind of
Mhm.
setup.
Mhm.
I think there should be some kind of parity. It should be there should be equal.
Yeah, because
you know,
it's not equal,
it's-
Thompson, as you know. It's
it
not
should
equal.
be, because what they should do, for example, say, okay, well, if Australia is playing a 5-test series against England, 3 of those tests matter and the 2 doesn't. Because
Yeah.
it makes no sense that the weight is done now.
Because no
that the
other team,
teams play
apart from
so
these
little.
3, play 5
Yeah.
test matches. England play 5 against Australia and India.
Yeah.
Same, all 3 of them. Nobody else plays 5. No other team. And playing 2 test matches. And that is one of the reasons where Dean Elgar has said he has to retire because he's not playing. He doesn't play other formats.
Right.
Test cricket is the only format. So he feels going to play country cricket in England for the next 3 years, make some money and be happy.
Yes.
That's what he said, Dean Elgar. So it's really not a fair system where all the test playing countries are on the same level. It's just not fair. Not fair. Guys, we have to wind up because our time is coming to an end. Mr. Menard, you want to give us your final comments? Because we have to wind up now.
And when you look at it, a team like New Zealand, they really, treated New Zealand very, very poorly because New Zealand was in the final just the other day. So how come New Zealand is getting this kind of treatment? So it is not fair where England and Australia and India are getting all the due and the other guys, other team, other countries are suffering. That cannot be fair. When it comes to that, I think it should be a fair system to each team. But we will continue the discussion another time.
Thank you, sir.
All the best.
Thank you.
And I will continue to watch my very...
Yeah, it's 151 for 2 now, Australia. Stephen Smith is on 19 and Labuschagne is on 44 not out. Slow though, 110 balls for that. Very slow. Yes, Ronald?
Yeah. In closing, the final point I'd like to make is that I would like Discover Dominica Authority to engage the West Indies cricket authorities to see how we could use ambassadors, Hodge and Athenas to promote Dominica while on tour.
Good point. Lobby? Final comments? Lobby, not hearing you. Go on. Huh? Thompson, we hearing you? No, we're not hearing.
Sorry, I said continue staying safe, and I'll see you all next week.
Okay. Thompson,
right,
I can only wish.
Yes?
Next week?
Yeah, next week, yeah.
I can only wish the West Indies the very best.
We don't know.
I can only wish the West Indies the very best as they go on to Australia and hope that they surprise all of us.
Too, I'm hoping that Ali could, like I say, it might be a good chance for some people to start their career there. When I say start with a bung, make 100. You make 100 in Australia, and that's a good start. And West Indies' next assignment is in England.
Right.
3 test matches. So if you go there and you go to England, your career can be just moving forward. You can't go back.
Yes, it's a great opportunity.
Yeah. Okay. So, listeners, want to say good night to listeners. Have a good night, everybody. Until next week.